Inside this quiet-looking house is utter chaos, absolute blissful and marvelous chaos. Earlier, we brought you the story of Sarah and Tony Stevens, who were expecting quads. That's 4 babies if you're not up to speed. We asked for your prayers, and many of you delivered. As a result, and against all odds, Sarah safely delivered her 4 babies. And now, we're going to get to see them. Stay with us. Several months ago, I sat down with Sarah and Tony Stevens, who just found out they were expecting quadruplets. Already the parents of 4-year-old Kelly, Sarah and Tony were excited about adding to their family. But the happy occasion was marred by fear and sadness. Sarah's first doctor advised them to abort all 4 babies, or selectively abort some. Knowing they could never intentionally take the lives of their children, Sarah switched doctors and started her journey of carrying 4 babies. But it wasn't an easy one. Not long after our initial interview, Sarah went into premature labor.
It was scary because I thought I was going to lose them. And I went to the hospital, didn't know that I was going to have to stay there. It was scary, I was afraid. They told me they would try to save them, but they said at 23 weeks they don't live.
So they administered meds to stop your labor?
And then they were able to get the labor stopped, so then they told me I was there for the summer till I delivered. And their goal then was to get me, they kept setting goals for me, which was kind of nice because it gave me something to get to, you know, and they said 28 weeks, if you can get to 28 weeks. Then they said 32 weeks, if you can get to 32 weeks. And then they're like, if you get to 34 weeks. So, I mean, that was nice because it kind of gave me something to try for.
Sarah spent the remainder of the summer in the hospital. Sandra and Tom Head, Sarah's parents, were there every step of the way to support her, Tony, Kelly, and the quads. There were many frightening moments, but Sarah's determined strength and the care of her doctors helped her make it through the difficult pregnancy.
She really had a hard time carrying these babies. I don't want to make light of it. It was hard to watch. It was hard to watch. We could literally see her growing before our eyes. I would, you know, every day, and she was in so much pain, and you know, she couldn't eat, and she was morning sick, and she couldn't sleep. There was just no relief, and yet she never really complained. The doctor just said he'd never had a patient like her before, and he told her, you know, if she ever has any more kids, that even though she wouldn't be necessarily high risk, he would love to have her back as a patient. He said he'd probably refer her for some kind of psychological evaluation, but he'd love to have her back.
The babies were born on Wednesday, August 25th. Tell me what that day was like.
I was scared because I've never had a C-section before. The babies were early. It was just it was really quick because they were going to deliver me on Friday. So I was kind of preparing myself for Friday. I was not prepared for Wednesday. So everything was real quick and hurried, and so I was scared, but I was also ready. I was also, a part of me I was so miserable that I was done.
And how far did you make it?
I was 33 weeks and 2 days.
When she started going into labor that day, we were relieved, but we were also scared because it was, you know, it was early. And, you know, with quads, when you have the multiples, you have to subtract a week for each extra baby. So they were, you know, we knew they were going to have some struggles. And when they were born, I waited outside to accompany them to the NICU, and there were 3 of them, but Isabella was not with them because she was not breathing when she was born. They had to resuscitate her, and she wasn't doing well. And they had to work on her quite a while. But the other 3, you know, they were so tiny, and it was such a miracle, and I kept thinking, how are these going to survive, you know? But it was a wonderful, wonderful day, wonderful thing to watch.
Coming up, we'll hear how the babies are doing now and give you an up-close and personal view of life with the Stevens family.
Look around you. We're surrounded by people who courageously face difficult obstacles life has thrown in their paths. Tune in each week to meet people who show there are positive, godly solutions to tough, critical situations. This Emmy Award-winning show tackles challenging life issues such as abortion, stem cell research, and adoption, and shows every human life is valuable and precious. Join us for inspiring stories of people facing life head-on.
After 33 long and difficult weeks, Sarah and Tony Stevens became parents to 4 little babies. Sarah had surpassed the doctor's goal for how long she carried the quads, but they were still very premature and not yet out of danger. Quads A and B, Landon and Jackson, were the healthiest, but Isabella and Samantha, C and D, had a tough road ahead of them.
The girls were really sick when they were born. Isabella wasn't breathing when I had her, and she was the sickest at first. And then Samantha kind of crashed, and she, had an infection, and she had the breathing issues, and that was really scary.
They had a hard time getting an IV line in her, a PICC line they call it. She kind of crashed after that, and she became septic, and that's when they almost lost her.
She came about as close as a person can come to dying, didn't she?
Yes, she did. One of the doctors that came in and talked to us actually teared up when she was telling us how bad it was, and they were afraid they were going to have to move her to Children's, but they didn't think she'd make the trip.
Now, Sandra, you wrote on your blog, I remember, about that experience of them getting the PICC line in. Share a little bit of that day and what unfolded.
It was pretty amazing. They had decided they were going to have to try to move her. Didn't think she would make it, and they decided to try one more time. And they brought in the best of the best, and she came out and she told me, she said, "I don't know if I can do it." She said, but you guys need to say a prayer for me. She said, because I'm going to try my best. She said, "I don't know what's going to happen." And so she went in, and they worked for a long time. We stood outside and we're just standing there praying and hoping, and could hardly stand to watch. And when she got that in, we heard her, she said it over the speaker phone. She said, I got it. we were so excited. And she came out and she said, we said, "Thank you so much." She said, "You need to thank the big guy upstairs." She said, "This girl has no veins. There's no way I should have been able to get that PICC line in."
Now, her condition today, obviously, she's on oxygen.
She's on oxygen. She's got immature lungs, and the oxygen is helping her to just get what she needs while her lungs develop. But other than that, we are not aware. She's had quite a bit of testing. We are not aware of any other problems at this point.
So what was it like to hold your grandbabies for the first time?
It's scary for me. I didn't want to do it. They're really little, and I have a way of breaking things.
So you're afraid you'd break them, huh?
Oh yeah, and I get yelled at constantly. I don't wash my hands enough. I make too much noise. They're always yelling at me. Even Callie came in one day and said, "Papa, you go to work." All right, fine. So I hold them as little as possible because it's just too scary.
Sandra, what was that day like for you?
It was scary. They were so tiny, and they were not, when I got to hold them, I was nervous about it, but now it's they're just my grandbabies.
Landon and Jackson remained in the hospital for 2 weeks before coming home, with Isabella following a week later. Samantha came home a week before her actual due date. According to Sarah's doctors, all 4 quads were able to come home much earlier than expected. It was a true testament to the miracle that unfolded and the power of prayer.
One of the nurses told my mom that she's been there, I think it was 25 years, and she said she's never seen multiples go home that early.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Overall, everything was kind of a miracle in itself. Every little milestone.
One big miracle times 4, eh? How did you feel when you were finally able to get all your kids home under one roof?
Well, it was a little overwhelming for me because they were so small, and I'm more of a toddler kind of dad. I figure, with a baby, what can you do? You just hold them and feed them, and I feel like I'm gonna break them. Just getting in a rhythm, making sure they all eat together, and trying to keep on a schedule, because it's impossible if they're not all eating together at the same times. But really, I didn't have to worry about that. Sarah and Sandra took care of that, and I was just working.
Well, tell me about each one of the babies and their personalities.
Well, Landon's really laid back. He never cries unless there's something wrong, like he's hungry, or he's really sweet and likes to cuddle. And Jackson's very strong-willed, and he wants his own way, and he's content if you're holding him. Isabella's really loud, and she demands things, but she's also very sweet. And Samantha is not as laid back as Landon, but she is more laid back than Isabella. But when she wants something, she lets you know.
In a moment, we'll learn about the enormous amount of support Tony and Sarah have received from family and friends.
Whether you're a student needing answers, a parent needing help, or a concerned citizen wanting to make a difference, Life Issues Institute has the resources you need to put your values into action. Life Issues Institute is an international educational organization committed to protecting innocent human life. Life Issues Institute knows what it takes. That's why millions throughout the world turn here for help. Life Issues Institute has authored more pro-life publications than any other entity in the world, and its materials are printed in over 30 languages. Radio broadcasts, newsletters, and a website filled to the brim with the answers you're looking for are just a click away. Go to facinglife.tv and click on the link to Life Issues Institute to find out more about how you can change the heart of a nation.
Having 4 new babies to take care of, in addition to a 4-year-old, has certainly changed the lives of Sarah and Tony Stevens. They moved in with Sarah's parents to make the daily routine a bit more manageable. The schedule of feeding, changing, and rocking babies is a never-ending cycle. Luckily, the whole family has pitched in to help. Devon, Sarah's sister, is an elementary school teacher during the day. By the afternoon, she's fulfilling the duties that come with being a loving aunt to quadruplets. So what's a daily routine like?
Well, I get up at 5:30, so I'm not there for the morning part, but I know they feed them every 3 hours, and every time they feed, they change. And when I get home at 3, I'm always there to help feed, and sometimes I'll watch them while I'll let my sister and my mom go out, or you know, different things like that. And I haven't watched all 4 yet. I had all 3, and that was a handful. But I think they're getting in a pretty good routine now.
Well, basically, all I do is take care of babies. Feed them and change them and rock them and play with them, because they're starting to kind of wake up and realize that there's more to do than sleep. So they like to be held and to talk to. And
Do you ever have those days when you think this is all too much to handle?
it gets overwhelming at some points, but I would never change anything.
What do you do when you feel that overwhelming feeling wash over you?
Take a step back and realize what I've got and how blessed I've been, and I'm better.
The last time we talked, I was so stressed out because I was concerned for my daughter's health, and of course the babies too, and I didn't know what God was going to ask us to go through. So it was very frightening and stressful, and I'll take this any day of the week over that. This is good.
Dirty diapers are a piece of cake.
That's fine.
Eh?
Yeah, I'll take the dirty diapers and no sleep. That's fine.
Is Kelly adjusting to being a big sister?
She is. She's doing a lot better than I thought she would do. She enjoys the babies. She likes to help with the babies and to talk to the babies, and wants them, when they get bigger, she's going to teach them how to ride a bike, she says.
Since I've been working so much lately, any spare time I have, or any day I have a half a day off, or any day I have a day off, I just usually spend it with her and try to give her some alone time, and because it's hard for her to get the attention that she wants and needs with all the babies running around. So I try to take her out on drives and go to the park and maybe go to McDonald's and get a Happy Meal.
Becoming parents to 4 newborn babies can be overwhelming. Thankfully, Sarah and Tony have had help and support every step of the way. While in the hospital, Sarah received an enormous amount of encouragement from her nurses and doctors. The young couple saw an outpouring of aid from their church family and friends in preparation for the quad's arrival. Everything they've needed has been provided to them.
Well, I was amazed by how people would, help us, and how what they were willing to do. Like, my mom quit all of her jobs to help, and we moved into my parents' house, and my grandma took all the clothes and washed them and sorted them and brings them over when we need them, and people donate their old clothes or used clothes and shoes and diapers, and it's amazing how people have helped us.
There's a few people at work that stepped up individually to do whatever they could to provide us with formula and diapers. They had connections with people, and you know, every day they'd ask me when I come into work, what do you need, or what are you out of? And you know, I never even had to ask, it was always offered.
Church was a wonderful support. They started a quad project in our quad corner at church, and everybody started bringing in clothes and diapers and formula, and they were giving money, whatever they could do, whatever we needed. So the whole time the church was fantastic, and Tony's parents found a van that they could all fit in comfortably, that we could maneuver, and I bought them a van, and it was just that type of thing. We had everybody took care of our what we needed at the moment, and as well as praying for us, of course, the whole time, cards and encouragement.
I feel like everybody's rallied. Anyone who's heard about it has tried to help in whatever way. My school, teachers at my school have contacted their churches trying to get money and trying to get supplies and different things. My kids in my classroom pray for those babies every day by name. They all know their names. A lot of people we don't even know who've just read the blog have written us or given suggestions or sent money or different things like that. So it's been outstanding. Just watching my mom and dad is just really secure to know that anytime that anything happens in our family, I know that they'll be behind me 100%, there to help out when I need it, and just watching them with the babies is amazing.
So if you have 4 kids, you know they'll be there for you.
They keep saying I'm gonna have quints, so because I tease Sarah a lot.
You gotta do one up on the
and
sister.
That's not gonna happen. But yeah, it's been amazing to watch and just to be a part of, and I've learned a lot through it. It's just sacrificial love is what it is.
Yeah, everybody in all different forms, families and friends, just without them, I would be stressed out right now, but with everybody chipping in a little bit, it just has made a huge difference, so we're very thankful for that.
When we return, we'll hear how the lives of these 4 beautiful new babies have impacted the Stevens and Head families. And we'll find out how their story will serve as a powerful message for years to come.
Look around you. Every day, heroes abound in our country. We're surrounded by people who courageously face difficult obstacles life has thrown in their paths. Tune in each week to meet people who show there are positive, godly solutions to tough, critical situations. We'll tackle challenging life issues such as abortion, stem cell research, adoption, and abstinence, and show that every human life is valuable and precious. Join us for inspiring stories of people facing life head on.
Even though the medical odds were enormously stacked against her, Sarah Stevens was able to bring 4 beautiful new babies into this world. But none of it would have happened if Sarah and Tony had followed the advice of that first doctor to abort some or all of their children. The doctor that initially counseled you, he advised you to abort all the babies, and if not that, then to abort down to 1 or 2. What would you tell him now?
That not everything is how it's by the books. Sometimes miracles do happen, sometimes babies do live, and it's always worth a shot.
No matter the outcome, it's still, to me, a responsibility of me as a parent is to give my children the best opportunity at life that they have. I was given life, I want to give my children life. If there's risks involved and the outcome may not be what we think, it's not in my hands. I'm not the one who gives life, and I'm not the one that makes the decision to take it away.
Oh, I can't wait until we can bring them in there and label them A, B, C, D, and ask them which one they would choose to abort, because he wanted the selective abortion or the overall termination. I mean, I was really angry when I found out about that, and I wanted to hear Sarah and Tony's response, and I wanted to go in there and tell him, how can you choose? How can you decide?
It never dawned on me how, when someone decides to abort a pregnancy, it affects generations. You know, it affects it changes everything. And you know, if Sarah had taken their advice and quietly gone somewhere and, you know, aborted the pregnancy, everything would be different.
So now that the babies have been here for a while, can you imagine life without them?
Absolutely not. I couldn't imagine loving them as much as I do, but I just, you know, I couldn't imagine life without them. It's been a real blessing to just see God at work in the lives of my daughter and her husband, and just, you know, change history.
You think it's been a positive impact on Mom and Dad?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that that God's given them a ministry, you know, because everywhere they go, from now on, until the kids are grown, they're going to attract attention. And what an opportunity, you know, to share their story.
It's been a huge impact on our family, and people that don't even know our family have gotten involved and have just been touched by their lives. And we've had several people who have been going through really hard times and have just been, you know, uplifted from the baby's story, and their ministry is outstanding. I'm 25 and they have a better ministry than I've had, you know, in the short amount of time that they've been here. And so that's pretty amazing.